Sure. Yeah.
Got it.
Oh, blur. The blur will not accept.
Yeah, we straight chillin', serial killing, pre-cold villains on the mic, got you reeling. 5-star rated from the floor to the ceiling. If you catch a 1-star, no time for feelings. Got a team and DJ on the ones and twos. By the name Elzebub, so don't get confused. So grab a seat by the fire, roast a mallow or two, and prepare to hear the legend of the straight chillin' crew.
What up, nerds? And welcome to another holly jolly episode of Straight Chilling, the weekly horror movie review show where you chill and we kill, slice, dice, and chop up yet another horror movie. My name's Bob. I'll be your host for the evening. This is episode number 349, recorded on Tuesday, December 13th, 2021. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the winner of the December poll pick, which was P2 from 2007, also known as P-Deuce. Before we get into the review, let me introduce everyone else on the show tonight. First up, calling in from Washington, D.C., we got our boy, Randy Gandy, GGG Landy. What's up, man?
And much on some grinding.
What's up, baby? How we doing? We munching on that grindage?
That's from the movie Father-in-Law. Is that right?
Yes.
Father-in-law?
Yeah, sure. That's a slight corruption of the title. Sure.
I feel like if you heard your father-in-law say munch on some grindage, you'd be like, I married well. Like, this family is dope.
Well, yeah, in the year 2021, that's probably a pretty chill father-in-law. He just wants to munch on his grindage and, I don't know, play with toy trains or something.
Oh, hi, son-in-law Randy. Would you like to wheeze the juice with me?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Whoa.
Yes, I would. Last but not least, calling in from right around the corner, we got our boy Soju. What's up, man?
What up? It's your boy, Ho 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 Stains, ready for our Christmas extravaganza.
Let's do it. We're getting into them hose stains because it's Christmas.
Oh yeah, those are some of the best stains we've had, I believe.
He's
I
gonna
don't
find
know
the
if-
jolliest bunch of assholes this side of the nut house.
He will. I don't know if hose stains are the kind of stains I really want to endorse publicly.
Well, I
I think
mean,
I'm out.
compared to what usually comes around, I mean, I feel like that's the most comprehensible, at least.
I mean, we don't want stains in general, except
Well,
for the
I'm
soju.
out of here, though.
The soju kind are acceptable only.
Oh, thank you.
I got one of those Clorox sticks, and I'm just gonna erase you from the show, Juice. I'm so sorry.
No.
I'm so
no.
sorry. Merry Christmas, motherfucker. Yeah, this is our Christmas episode. As we've already
Ooh.
talked about on the show, like, we've hit a lot of the big name Christmas horror movies. So we're like, what are we going to do for this month's poll? We usually pick like 3 Christmas bangers, or at least like 3 movies that people kind of know and have seen. So we went kind of off the deep end here, and we went with Covert Christmas as our theme for the month. And we chose 3 Christmas movies that we felt were potentially underseen, but still like pretty decent. And P2 took the cake on this one. I'm excited to talk about it. Before we do, though, we do have some housekeeping we got to tackle real quick. We do have a brand new poll pick currently posted on our Patreon website.
Oh,
Our January poll is up there. The theme is redemption, and the 3 movies to vote between are The Thing, Scanners, and Reanimate.
Hey, Bob,
So,
have those numbers changed at all since last week, or is the thing still stomping dong?
so The Thing is still stomping dong, but less dong.
Okay. That's an appropriate bump, Randy. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's how I would sound if my dong was stomped. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, the thing is, it does not care about your dong. You stomp it.
Oh.
So Scanners, if Scanners had a dong, it would be thoroughly stomped because it's
I think it would explode.
It would.
I
Don't
mean,
scan my dong, guys.
please don't scan my dong.
So yeah, The Thing is in first place. Reanimator has come up a good chunk, to be honest with you. Like, it could still come back and overtake everything. There's a decent hunk of people left to get their votes in, so we'll see. The Thing is definitely in first place though, and it is certainly a banger. All of these are bangers, no matter what. We're all winners in January. We're all winning. It's going to be great. Make sure you get your votes in before the end of December. We'll see what movie we're talking about this January. In other Patreon news, we do have a brand new Patreon supporter. We got to give mad shouts outs to. Big thanks to Naderade for signing up on Patreon and showing us some love. It really does help us keep the show going. It means a lot to us. And as is tradition around these parts, we owe you the straight chilling salute. This one goes out to Naderade.
Oh, God, slap me in the ass.
Slap me in the ass, Naderade. He's a longtime supporter on the Slack, and I believe he's getting ready for that You Pick the Flick, Bob.
Ooh, they're training.
Yeah.
They're training to get the spot.
I think we need to talk about that as well.
We do. Yeah. Thanks so much, Naderade. It's been great getting to know you on the Slack channel. Thanks for showing us love on the Patreon. And regarding the You Pick the Flick, like we mentioned last week, we are opening the tier for the first quarter of 2022. So if you're a new listener,
Hallelujah! Holy shit! Where's the Tylenol?
I think that was an accident, Mom.
No, it was not. It was just so much louder than I thought.
it was a solid placement. Killing it, Randy.
You know, I tried.
If you are a new listener, the only way that you can pick a movie outright for us to talk about on this show is to sign up for the You Pick the Flick tier on our Patreon website. We open it up quarterly, and each quarter there's only 5 spots available. They tend to go very quickly. So we are opening the You Pick the Flick tier Sunday, December 19th at an undisclosed time. That is this Sunday, December 19th. And like I said, there's only 5 spots available, and they tend to go very quickly. You'll just have to check our Patreon website throughout the day and see if the tier happens to be open. And if so, go ahead and grab you a spot. We are making some changes for the You Pick the Flick tier in the year of 2022. I'm gonna start with the bad news first. Bad news.
Oh, shit.
We are raising the price to $25 per pick.
Bob, no.
I know.
Bob, how could you
Bob,
do
no.
this to
Bob,
our fans?
Bob,
You alone.
Yeah, we fought you hard on this, but ultimately you iron fisted
The
us.
Iron Fist just ripped us new assholes. And God, now we need the money for our new assholes.
Everyone yell at Bob.
Yeah,
I
Bob.
was double iron fisting the boys, and because of that, they need to have their booty holes reconstructed. So we need some extra dollars.
I be stroking.
We're raising the price to $25 per pick. We hadn't raised the price in several years, and we do actually, despite what it might seem like, put quite a lot of time and effort into producing these shows. And everything that you got before, you're still going to get, and we're going to add some new shit. So you're not getting the same old stuff.
Oh fuck. Oh shit.
So just to cover what you got before,
fuck.
to cover what you got before,
Fuck.
you get to pick a movie. You get to pick whatever movie you want us to talk about, as long as we can all watch it and we haven't already discussed it. We will talk about it for you. So this is something that we like forget to mention, but every time you pick a movie, after we review it on the show, we have a custom VHS sticker. We fill out like your name, the name of the movie, our rating, the date we recorded the show, all that, and then we mail it out to you. So you get a custom VHS sticker, you get a straight chilling sticker, and we're also going to be adding a brand new enamel pin that was designed by yours truly, Randy Gandy G. Landy. It is
Around here, that means big
very,
money.
very cool pin. Big, giant money. So in the year of 2022, should you pick a movie for us to review, we're going to send you a brand new enamel pin as a one-time gift. We're going to be unveiling the design very soon, probably in the next week or so, just to let you guys know what it looks like. It is very, very dope. And we're also going to allow you guys to share your thoughts about the movie you chose in the body of the review. So much the same way that, like, as we're sort of closing out our review of a movie and we're including like our final thoughts and our rating out of 5, we want you guys to provide that to us. You can call in and leave a voicemail doing that, or you can shoot us an email doing so, and we can read the email for you if you don't want to record your voice. However you want to do it, we just want to make sure that we get your thoughts about the movie that you chose in the body of the show and make it a little more intimate. We want to get intimate with you. So we're adding quite a lot of value to the You Pick the Flick tier. If you guys have any questions about that, please hit us up on one of our social media outlets, hit us up on Slack. We'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
I don't know where you're going to find a deal that good. I'm honest. I'm being serious. Like, that's a damn good deal.
Yeah.
And, you know, I know I'm the self-deprecator. So, you know, when I say this, it's true. Like, this is fucking, that's an amazing deal. Nobody else is going to give you that shit plus whatever. Like, we're going to have to add steak knives next year. That's the only thing we have room left for.
And you also get access to our whole back catalog of mini casts on Patreon. I think there's like 55 up there now. We add to it every single month. So you can listen to all of that as well. Yeah. So, I mean, you get quite a lot for the money. I know it's always a bummer when we raise prices on anything, but we're trying to provide as much value as we can for you guys.
We're trying to go straight to the top here, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
After 7 years of casting, we want to go straight to the top.
Now's the time to blast.
We're tripping over our dicks trying to sell out here, okay? Help us sell out.
I've been trying to sell out for years.
Again, mark your calendars for Sunday, December 19th. You Pick the Flick opens up on our Patreon website.
And in 2023, it's going to $100. In 2024, it's going to $500.
Exponential growth, blockchain, investing,
NFTs. You can fund these tokens, motherfucker.
Do you want to buy the NFT of the picture I'm making right now on the behind the scenes?
You can buy an NFT
Wow,
of Soju's asshole. We'll sell it to you for a dime.
Dime bag.
A dime is $10,000.
That's all we got for Patreon stuff. The only other thing I want to mention is Joe Bob Briggs is coming back to Shudder this Friday, December 17th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just like always, we're going to be hosting a watch party. He's going to be showing, I think it's another double feature. It's hopefully going to be 2 Christmas related movies, but as you are aware, when it comes to Joe Bob, he doesn't announce his movies ahead of time, so it's a bit of a surprise. We will post a link to join in on our Zoom watch party on all of our social media outlets just before 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time this Friday, December 17th. Come hang out with us, watch some Joe Bob.
It only cost you $100.
That's it.
Our free podcast keeps getting more and more expensive.
I know. Fuck
well,
us.
inflation, what you gonna do?
Oh man. Gentlemen, do you guys have anything else you want to add? You got anything?
Don't throw me down, Clark.
I'll try.
That's all I have to add.
That fucking line is killer. It fucking slays me every time I watch.
I think it's funnier to me that you think it's that funny.
Yeah.
It kills me. God damn. Grace, she died 30 years ago. Okay. That's gonna do it for our housekeeping. This house is clean.
Ooh.
This house is clean.
What are we gonna do in our pristine house now, Bob?
We're going to get into the main event. We're talking about P. Deuce from 2007. We're kicking it off with the back of the box.
What's on the back of the box?
I wonder if Chris is listening and if he now understands what P. Deuce is.
I
feel like
I'd like
he
to think
does.
he'll never know, and that makes me happy.
Oh, man.
He's sitting at
It's
home
pretty.
like,
It's easy to understand. I think he gets it, but I prefer to imagine he doesn't. He was baffled last week for sure. P.
Deuce, what?
Deuce. I mean, that
That's
is
great.
P2 is a strange name for a movie. P. Deuce is even stranger.
Well, much
Deuce-
better.
P. Deuce Bigelow is even weirder. I don't know. We're talking about that next week. All right, P2, 2007. This was directed by Frank Calfoun. Calfoun? Is that how I'm going to say that? This was also co-written by Alex Aja. Stars Rachel Nichols, Wes Bentley, Simon Reynolds, and some other folks. You might recognize our buddy Alex Aja from some of the New French Extremity stuff. He definitely made his name by making that Hills Have Eyes remake that came out stateside. That was like pretty fucking infamous. But anyway, the plot synopsis of P2 is as follows. It's Christmas Eve. The last employee to leave her office, ambitious corporate climber Angela, arrives in the deserted parking garage only to discover her car won't start. She's relieved when Thomas, a seemingly friendly security guard, comes along and offers to help. Unable to get the engine to start, he invites Angela to share a small Christmas meal with him. She laughs off the invitation, but it quickly becomes clear her situation is no laughing matter. Angered by her refusal, the psychopathic Thomas knocks her out and ties her up in his office. Coming to, Angela realizes that the only way she will live to see Christmas morning is to find a way to escape from P2, a stylish horror thriller from the filmmakers beyond. High tension and 2006 remake of Hills Have Eyes. P2 builds to an unforgettable, blood-curdling climax. Gentlemen, had you seen this movie before, and would you recommend? Randy, kick us off.
No, I had not seen this particular film. It's been long on the list for me. Like, I think everything on this particular poll were movies that I've intended to see, if I remember right, but never got to. Yeah, I think with Christmas horror, like, I don't think that it doesn't lean heavily into the Christmas more than other movies that we consider Christmas horror, though. So I think for the jolly season, it's a good match. I don't know that I'd watch it outside of that too much, but it's not because it's bad. It's just because I don't know when I would crave watching this particular one. Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, I don't know that I would go into a situation where somebody's like, oh, recommend me a movie, and I'd say P2, unless they were looking for Christmas horror specifically. So
yeah,
but so yes, just qualified.
Yeah, for sure. Juice, what about you?
I had never seen or heard of P. Deuce before. I was just checking this out. The director, it says he directed the Maniac remake in 2012.
Yeah.
And then Amityville, The Awakening, P. Deuce. He's French as well. It's kind of got some of that French flavor, but I don't know, it's a little off. I disagree a little bit with Randy, where I think that for what this movie is, they laid on the Christmas about as much as they could, and yet I think it's like really like maybe the lowest rung on my recommend for Christmas horror list. Like the Christmas season is not that long. I usually, maybe a little bit before Thanksgiving I'll start getting into it, but there is like a ton of shit I would watch before this one. So I don't know if I'll ever watch it another Christmas season again. Maybe. I wouldn't necessarily turn anyone away from it, but I definitely wouldn't like be recommending it above like at least 10 to 15 other films. So yeah,
well, that's definitely true.
Yeah,
this movie might have, when we get into it, I think there is some aspects of this movie that I would cause me to recommend it to somebody if they were talking about things, but I don't want to get into that just yet until we get into spoiler zone.
Okay.
I gotta clarify your statement. Just, do you mean 10 to 15 other Christmas horror films?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know of that many.
Maybe like 10. Well, okay, maybe that's maybe 10. So maybe like Nightmare Before Christmas I would watch before this, which I already have, which we have not covered, by the fucking way. Jesus Christ.
True.
Tim Burton's rolling in his grave-shaped
I put
bed.
it on one poll pick once and it like bombed. We Gremlins, Krampus, Christmas Evil, the one we watched last year, Rare Exports,
Silent Night, Deadly Nights.
Silent Night, Deadly Nights.
Yeah.
So I mean, all that's 7. So Black Christmas, yeah, 8. So almost 10, yeah.
Almost.
That's fair.
So I don't know. So I would recommend this. I, in a way, kind of did recommend this by putting it on the poll here. So like I would recommend this in a way that if somebody is tired of watching the handful of Christmas horror movies that exist, this would be one that you may not have heard of that I think is pretty damn solid. So like outside of Christmas Evil, Black Christmas, Krampus, Silent Night, Deadly Night, like those are like the main ones that come to mind. Other ones sort of are like not quite as major, but like this would be something to like spice up your holiday season in a way. So I would recommend it in that case. Yeah.
You know what? You made me think of this, and I think this might be, this is out of the list of movies we just listed off. It's definitely in the upper or mid area for being scary. Like if you're looking for a scary horror or Christmas horror,
tension filled.
Yeah, like this, I think that this, tension filled is a good way. Like it's definitely got that new French Extremity thing going.
That's
so
true. Yeah.
If you like that genre, this is the Christmas film for you, probably.
That's
I'll amend my recommendation to that.
Yeah. This is off the beaten path, but still gonna fulfill your Christmas horror Jones. Hopefully, we will discuss it. Sounds like a pretty medium to solid recommend from the Straight Chilling crew there. Before we get into the rest of the movie, we're going to drop that spoiler warning. Here we go.
Spoiler warning.
Bob, do you have a plot synopsis?
I
feel like
do.
that back of the box was like,
Yeah, kind of did the job.
Yeah. I've got something that's a little bit more in depth, but it's not super long. I'll blast through it real quick if you'll indulge me.
Oh, I'll indulge because you'll iron fist me if I won't.
You're damn right I will.
You sit on a throne of lies.
Killing it with the placement. Thank you, Randy. All right, here is the full plot synopsis for P. Deuce Bigelow. The film takes place on Christmas Eve, and Angela's working late. Her coworker Jim walks into her office and apologizes for acting inappropriately at the company Christmas party. Angela has plans with her family and goes down to the second level underground parking garage to leave. However, her car won't start. She walks over to the security guard Thomas and asks him to unlock the elevator so she can call a cab. She has no service while in the parking garage. She calls a cab, waits in the lobby. The car arrives, but the doors are locked and she can't get out. Angela goes back down into the parking garage to exit, but is chloroformed by Thomas. Angela wakes up to find Thomas has changed her outfit, chained her to a chair in his office as well. He's made a nice little dinner for them to share. Angela is terrified, but Thomas tries to force some pleasant dinner conversation as if nothing is wrong. Throughout the conversations, we realize Thomas knows all about Angela and makes her call her family and fake an illness so they don't worry about her when she doesn't arrive. Thomas takes Angela down to a lower level and gives her a Christmas present, which is her coworker Jim duct taped to an office chair. Thomas beats Jim mercilessly for groping Angela at the Christmas office party, and then he rams him several times with his car. Angela manages to escape the car. She steals her cell phone and Thomas's badge from the office. She calls 911, but we're not sure if she ever gains signal. She also gets in the elevator, hits the emergency stop between floors so that Thomas can't get to her. Thomas flushes her out with a fire hose. Angela finds an axe and starts smashing all the CCTV cameras in the parking garage. She then finds a video playing in the office of her unconscious body being molested by Thomas. Thomas tases her and she falls unconscious just as the police arrive. Thomas hides her body in the trunk of a car. As the police inspect the garage, the police end up leaving, finding nothing as Angela wakes up and breaks out of the trunk. Angela kills Thomas's dog in self-defense. She finds a car rental office, steals some keys, and tries to drive off, but Thomas sideswipes her, leading to a game of chicken in which Angela crashes into a pole. Angela ends up playing dead as Thomas opens the car door and she stabs him in the eye, chokes him, and handcuffs him to the car. As she's walking away, Thomas insults Angela, causing her to turn around and ignites the gasoline with a taser, causing Thomas to be engulfed in flames. Angela finally opens
9 lives. She just spent them all.
She did spin them all. Angela finally opens the parking garage gate, walks out onto a desolate, snowy Manhattan street on Christmas morning, just as the police arrive to ask if she is okay. That is the plot.
There you go. Plotted.
Yeah. I think I was thinking back too. I think I've been a little spoiled, which is maybe why I'm a little lower on this movie because actually almost like in the past 2 or 3 years, every time we've done a Christmas special, it's been like a movie that I'm not familiar with, like Christmas Evil or Rare Exports. Never watched that, and like I love the shit out of those. And then this one, I was like, yeah, okay.
Maybe
We did all the big ones.
Yeah, I know.
So
I don't know. I would argue
except-
that this. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I mean, I associate this with Christmas enough to be where it's like on the same level as Rare Exports, anyway. But like, not in terms of quality, but in terms of notoriety for the season. I don't know. That's a whole. Maybe it's just what passes our vision, you know.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. So this movie, I was trying to pinpoint kind of. It definitely does have that gritty, kind of grimy French extremity feel. But it's not as extreme. I guess it kind of has a high tension feel, but with a lot less violence and gore.
Yeah.
Although there is nothing for gore. And
For sure.
There is some in here for sure. But definitely with the new French extremity, that's like the whole shebang.
Yeah.
Is that they're so gory, and it's very much like an uphill battle all the way for whatever your lead character is, and that part is intact for sure.
And I think actually what one of my biggest beefs is like with movies like this, it's a pretty slim cast. So the people that you're watching need to sell it. You know, when you're only watching 2 or 3 people, you have to be completely focused, you know, and then they need to really sell you on this. And I don't like this guy, this actor. I don't think he does a good enough job. I don't think he does. I know he's been in other things.
Yeah.
But I just don't think he sells. I know he's like whiny and pathetic, and you're not supposed to like him for those things. I specifically don't like him, the acting portion. I just don't think it's like good enough.
I kind of agree. I think that he's like, I don't know. First of all, Wes Bentley, I'm looking at this man's IMDb. That's a good looking dude. Holy shit. This guy looks like a fucking Wolfman motherfucker. He's a good looking dude. He's an actor that I've seen in like he's in American Beauty. He's in the fucking Hunger Games movie and all kinds of things.
American
like
Horror Story too, I think.
Interstellar, American Horror Story. Yeah, okay. No, I think that's someone else maybe. But yeah, I can't remember his name, but that's another actor. But anyway, this is to me like it's like I think he's trying this. Do you know what I mean? Like he's like, all right, I'm gonna give this a real shot. I'm gonna like go with loony energy. I'm going Nick Cage on this motherfucker and really try and like embrace this thing, but he doesn't really sell it, you know. It's like
Rob is right.
Bit of hesitation.
He is the guy
almost.
in American Horror Story. He's in.
Is he? Okay, there's another guy that looks like him in American Horror Story as well. Then
he's in Freak Show, Hotel, Roanoke. Those 3. I remember him in Hotel. He's like that main guy or the detective.
Okay. Well, anyway, I think he's not a bad actor, and that's the thing that's like so baffling to me is like, I think he's just like stronger in more subdued performances, maybe. Because in this one, he really doesn't like just sell the loon. He's trying to go for like a Heath Ledger Joker, not exactly that, but like go that level of like insanity, like hidden insanity, just bubbling beneath the surface thing. But it doesn't really feel like that. He feels just kind of impetuous.
Yeah,
I think he doesn't get creepy enough ever. Like,
I agree.
Even if he does ramp up his creepiness, I don't know that this actor is the type of actor that could sell it. Like he looks very like clean cut, and like you said, like he's a good looking dude, Randy. Like, so if he's like went totally like off his hinges, I feel like it would feel manufactured and feel like he was acting. I feel like he went as big as he could get away with.
But that's the thing is like Heath Ledger's was an attractive man, and he did the joke. The thing is they didn't like playing him down. He seems like he's got like an incel attitude, his character. Like this intense loneliness and like a chip on his shoulder about his status in life and all these things. But he is like an immensely attractive man who could walk into any bar and walk out with a partner.
That's
you know
true.
what I mean? Like it's kind of tough sell.
That's true.
When you do that. If they had done him down a little bit, you know, made him like pale and pasty. Like you remember that Sunny in Philadelphia where Dee makes Dennis remove his makeup concealer and he's like the creepiest looking motherfucker in the world after.
That's a good point right there. Yeah, like doing him down because that episode he looks terrible.
Yeah.
Like
they do him down, and you can do that.
Down. Yeah,
Glenn Howerton's not an unattractive man. He's a good-looking dude too, but they did him down enough to where they sold him as like this meek and like incompetent. I don't know. They did it great. They did it
Well, and
great.
he
And I feel like
sold
they could have done that with
that
this character.
too. And the,
Right.
the way this character's kind of written, it kind of reminds me of like a Jake
God, I wish Glenn
Gyllenhaal
Howerton played this role.
Nightcrawler type of where he's
Yeah.
slimy and you're not supposed to like him, and in that way it kind of works well. But yeah, the intenseness, there's one moment, I will say there's one moment where I was like, okay, this could get intense, where he makes her call the family and he puts his hands around her
that
neck,
was
like
pretty
from
intense.
behind
Yeah.
her. I was like, that was a pretty intense moment, and that was the most he ever sold. But once he starts, like, I feel like the desperation, once he starts losing control of this situation, there needed to be another
level,
another character,
He
almost.
forced.
Yeah,
exactly.
just like a whole nother like desperation, like I'm gonna get caught. I haven't fully thought this out, because part of my problem too is this plan is not very foolproof. He has no idea when she's going to leave, and so this whole thing hinges on the idea that she's going to leave super late. I know he's been watching her, but that she's going to leave super late on Christmas Eve, and there's going to be nobody else there to help her. Like, he has to cut her car, hope that she leaves late, and take out the other security guard in order to her not get in a cab and just leave for the night.
Well, and in addition to that, like, I'm sitting here thinking about, like, you're right. Like, there's a lot of moments where things go sideways for him. That's the other thing that's kind of weird, though, is he always acts like he is in perfect control, even when he's not. And maybe that's like a cycle, like a choice based on like a psychological thing, but it doesn't feel like that. It feels like he's like not getting it. Like, I don't know. It feels like he's not playing the stakes that we see as a viewer.
I didn't necessarily see this whole thing as being like planned out to the T. I feel like he probably, I mean, obviously he had been stalking her and doing his research and was probably just like waiting for like the opportunity to present itself. And then it eventually did, and he chloroforms her. Like, I don't think he was aiming for this night necessarily. I mean,
no, I think he definitely was, because he made that meal. Like, maybe he made it just for himself, but that was a lot of that was a lot of food for one guy, and he brought multiple plates and glasses and wine and a space setting.
And he almost had to, because the whole thing about it was that the building was going to be closed for the next 3 days. I think the other security guard says.
That's true.
So he's like, we're closing the building now for the next 3 days. So I was like, okay, he's taking his opportunity. He's going to get her. And if things go sideways, he essentially has 3 days to clean, which is why I assumed he didn't give too much of a shit that he smushed a guy in the parking garage. But now, okay, so that makes sense for his reaction to smushing a guy in the parking garage. Okay, but when she runs away, the whole idea is like, oh, I've got everything locked down.
Right.
There's no way. He like doesn't even go after
but he
her
left
when
his
she
key
runs
cards
away.
and like that was a huge plot point. Like, she gets his key cards in that moment, in that escape,
And
but
I
he's
was
walking
like,
around and like he's kind of giving like this almost mugging the camera, just like, oh geez, here we go again. I'm crazy. And it's like, it doesn't make sense, because his plan really is falling apart. And if it was like, I don't know, if he was really that much of a paranoid schizophrenic weirdo dude, like that can't control himself, then maybe that's the moment where he's like, wow, like really freaks out and just starts like losing his shit because control is lost. Like, that's the whole thing. Is, I don't know, maybe he's drawing off of some other sort of psychosis or some psychological thing that I don't know about. But as far as like people who capture and torture and molest women and people in general like that, like the ones that are like psychologically bent in some way like this, they're usually depicted a certain way that it's not really reading that way here, and it's not really established that it should be read any other way. Do you know what I mean? Like, they don't give us any sort of like hint, like, oh, this isn't your normal Norman Bates psycho. This is a guy who likes X or like whatever. Like, there's not a whole lot there to justify why he would break form like that, and it just doesn't read correctly.
I think our boy Wes Bentley here was just miscast. Like, I don't think he does necessarily a bad job with this character. I think he does everything he can with it. but ultimately, like, he can't get big enough to be taken seriously. I would put this on the casting director. I think, like, I think they just got the wrong guy for the job. He does fine though. I think it's not bad.
He does fine too. Like, I agree. Like, he's not. It's not like he's like fucking it up real bad or anything. And he's going for it. He's putting his all into it. It's just, I think it is probably a bad casting choice, but it's also, to me, like bad writing, because the stakes are always sort of like shifting, and he's not acting in a way that's that helps us as a viewer understand why those, like, how those stakes are shifting.
Yeah.
And she's the only one that's kind of doing that. And but like, even like our lead actress, she does fine too, but like there's not a whole lot of story meat to her. Do you know what I mean? Like, she works late too much. She's an overachiever. She like forgives too much maybe. And she's maybe a little put upon. That's it. Like, that's the only bit of characterization we have from her. That, and the fact that she's being tortured by this guy who's like, it's just, there's just some sort of disconnect going on between what's being displayed to us and what we're supposed to be feeling from it, I think.
Yeah.
But all that said, it's not like it's terrible. It's like,
it's really not. It is. And I think part of the frustration there is, it's weird because I can stop and I can think about scenes, because I was in my mind, I wanted to say, you know, this is kind of a sparse movie. There's not very many people. The setting doesn't change a whole lot. But then I was picking apart individual scenes and I was like, no, I mean, there is a lot of tension there. And maybe I just wanted to see more scenes that felt like something. Like, for instance, when she goes back in with the axe and that videotape is playing and it's him messing with her while she's passed out, like, I felt like I wanted a little more from her as well. Like, she didn't quite take it where she needed to in that scene, but also I was like, man, I kind of wish there were more. I kind of felt like it wasn't just a whole lot of running around, because parking garages, they don't look particularly interesting. So when you're in settings like that where she's chained to the table and it looks like Christmas but she's chained up, then okay, then there's a little bit of, like, you know, visual tension there. It's supposed to be jolly and happy, but for the most part she's running around like a gray space that just doesn't evoke anything.
That's the thing, is I kind of have to disagree with you, and it's on the basis of some of this thing that is like become almost mimetic over the last couple of years with like horror fans and people. Something called liminal space. I think I've brought this up before because I talked about a video game called Superliminal. But anyway, the idea of liminal space, for those who don't know, if you guys don't remember, it's basically the idea of you're in a space that's not meant to be like, you're not meant to hang out there. It's like staying in a school hallway or something, like just like there's something about an abandoned school hallway that feels eerie because it's not a place that people go to. It's not a living room where you go and sit. It's not a bedroom where you go and lay down. It's not a classroom where you go and learn. It's just an empty passageway to other things. And everywhere you look, every I don't know, it's all a mystery where, you know, at least on the visual basis. So I feel like on that level, this movie really works. And actually there's like something really fucking eerie to me right at the beginning is just the idea of there not being anybody there, being an abandoned building and not being able to find your way out. I was saying there, like, my anxiety was through the roof at that shit, because that is very much nightmare logic of like, I need to go somewhere. I'm anxious about getting somewhere, but every door I hit is locked, and every hope I have of escaping just puts me further back. And it's just this running and quicksand feeling that really bothers me. And I thought that was really effective. And as much as the parking garage does not provide visual interest, to me, it provides a little bit of that, like the base layer of something like, this is not a place for humans to inhabit. This is a place for humans to get from A to B.
Yeah.
And there's something really odd about that.
It basically turns into her prison cell at a certain point, and it makes it fairly creepy in that it also kind of it reminds you of a prison, because I mean it's like gray, washed out, like nothing very intriguing to look at. I don't know, like overall I think this movie is written fairly tightly. Like I guess there's a couple like plot conveniences in the very beginning to sort of get the ball rolling, like her going up and down the elevator, like the doors just happen to be locked and she can't unlock them from the inside somehow. But like once the ball gets rolling, I feel like it's all like fairly tightly written. There's like, I don't know, there's enough creepiness to pull me through here. And I think my biggest like compliment to this movie is the fact that like I don't know, 90% of it does take place in a parking garage. And for me, I was never bored with what I was being shown. I feel like it'd be really easy to become boring for a movie that's, you know, it was like an hour 48 runtime, I think, and it all takes place in a parking garage. Like, I don't know, they use the landscape well. When, you know, she gets the axe, they use like the fire hose. He's got like a guard
That
dog.
fire hose, I thought that was a great use of the space. That fire hose elevator
Yeah, that was cool.
thing.
The car rental place, you know, so she can get a vehicle and they end up playing a game of chicken. I feel like they were fairly inventive with this stuff in a way that other filmmakers might not be.
They were, but also I feel like it just left a whole lot on the bone. Like, for instance, the other security guard, his body falls through the elevator and there's no kind of explanation or anything about it. I know it adds to anxiety of like, oh, you thought maybe there was somebody else out there who could help you. He's not, but I don't know. Maybe I was just bored of watching this guy. And I needed
that part
somebody else.
worked for me entirely. The entire elevator sequence, with
Maybe if he was, like,
the
cut up or
exceptions of him
something?
talking on the intercom, I thought that was a little bit obvious for my
Yeah.
liking. But nevertheless, it was effective use of the space, which it's tough to do in such an abandoned space. I
Yeah.
respected that. And I agree with Bob to the extent that, like, you know, I did get a little bit bored, and I think it was a lot to do with the narrative and the performances. But the space itself, I thought, like, going into this, that was going to be my biggest problem, but it wasn't. Like, it really wasn't. It wasn't even close. It was actually a benefit to this story, I think. So, I mean, I don't know. I got to give him props for that. And I don't think that any of the parts of this movie are all that terrible. I really think that the sum total is just less than its parts, weirdly.
Yeah. I think so too, because as I was thinking about individual scenes, I was like, oh yeah, there actually was a lot going on from beat to beat, but it feels sparse to me for some reason.
That's because the meat on the bone that you're talking about, to me, is like any sort of like internal struggle for any of these characters, really.
Yeah.
Like, the only struggle that's happening is a struggle for survival, which is, you know, fair enough. Lots of movies have done that and succeeded, but they also have really like well defined huge characters, or they have something else to hang your hat on. And this movie doesn't have a really strong hook. The biggest benefit, like I said, is the setting. To me, is the biggest benefit. And even that's a really like subtle benefit. Like, it's something you really have to rationalize. Why does this feel weird?
Yeah.
And it's because of that, you know? So I don't know that there's like, if they had, like, I just because we were talking about it, I was like, my God, if they had cast Glenn Howerton in this role, genuinely think this would be a fucking much better movie.
Yeah,
And you
I
know,
agree.
like,
Yeah.
I think that he has the manic acting chops to do this.
That man needs
I don't know that
to
Wes
play a serial
really
killer.
does. Dude, I mean, doesn't he?
I can't. Well, I know.
Basically, yeah.
I cannot believe no one has like casted him. Other
I
than
feel
The
like he might be
Strangers,
avoiding
where-
it specifically because
Could
he doesn't
be.
want to be typecast as a serial killer forever.
Could be.
But-
I honestly just see the killer in High Tension in this role, or somebody like that, not necessarily that actress specifically, but somebody that's just like a little like dirtier, like a little
Just
bit
not
older,
conventionally attractive.
not as attractive. Yeah. So when they do sort of unveil like who they really are and go real broad with the performance, it's not like, nah, that dude gets laid all the time. Like, he wouldn't be reacting like this, you know?
Well,
like,
even again, to go back to it, Nightcrawler, Jake Gyllenhaal, you know, he's a generally like
Yeah.
attractive guy, and they downplay, you know, what they do with his hair. And
They make
it real
him look like a
greasy.
chameleon, like literally like a lizard.
yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
yeah, I mean, they could have it can be done.
It can be done, you're
it's just
right,
Like,
and
it seems like no effort was put into
Well,
that aspect of it.
I also just don't think this guy could do it. Like, they could make him look the part, but I don't know that he could deliver the part.
Maybe.
You know?
Maybe that's true. I don't want to like cast too many aspersions. I've seen this guy act well, so I feel like
Yeah,
it's in the
yeah.
cards for him. It's just maybe this, like, I just don't know. I feel like maybe this, from a acting standpoint, because the narration is so weird, there's not a whole lot you kind of have to extrapolate yourself, and maybe he just didn't have that extrapolation happen for himself. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
he has to build his own lore almost of who he is and why he's doing this shit, because the movie doesn't really cover that. He's just a lonely guy who gets obsessed with this woman who works late, and for some reason is just a killer.
Yeah.
I thought at
There
one
were-
point they were going to bring him down. Like when he's driving her, he's like, I'm going to show you something. I was so engaged because I was like, oh my God, he's going to have like a fucking cage full of dead girls or something.
Oh,
like
shit.
under, like some shit like that. And what they did was, also bombastic. They had that guy who transgressed against her or whatever. And that was an interesting scene. But I was like, I don't know. I wanted to know more about this guy specifically and not just see the sequence of events.
They had
And this girl too.
They had a couple moments in the movie that gave you some insight into Wes Bentley's character here. And like, I agree with you. I wish they had more. Like whenever Angela starts yelling at him to, like leave her alone or whatever, he keeps insisting like he's trying to help her, like he's doing her a favor by capturing.
creep?
Exactly. By capturing her coworker and like beating him to death, like he's trying to help her out, and she's the one that's ruining Christmas for the both of them. Like I kind of like how that is where he's coming from.
Right.
And also his like random obsession with Elvis was fairly creepy, and I dug on that too.
That too, but that also felt like a little underbaked because that wasn't covered
Yeah.
until he started singing it. And I'm like if they established, if he had like even had a throwaway line where it's like, I cosplay as Elvis on the weekends, it's just a hobby of mine, just trying to get to know you and have some sort of manic conversation about that. That would have been fine. And it would have worked really well. And I do think there's something to his character. Like I said, like he comes off as like an incel with like loneliness being like this warping agent on the way he sees the world. But we don't really get to know anything beyond, like, it's almost like we're told and not shown that, even though we kind of are shown that. It's weird. I'm having a hard time putting it into words.
Yeah, and like, well, I think the way that they psychologically developed this character is a little strange too, and maybe why he had maybe some struggles with some of it. Because even by the end, like I said, it feels like there needs to be another level to the psychosis. Because even watching things like oh God, what is it? Mine Hunter or whatever. What is that baller show where they do the serial killer
Mindhunter.
profiles? Okay,
Mindhunter.
Mindhunter.
Cooter Hunter.
Yeah, Cooter Hunter. Is he organized? Is he disorganized or whatever? And even his psychosis of at the end where he's like, why would you kill my dog? Why would you do that? It just doesn't feel believable.
Right.
I feel at some point something has to break, or he either has to have all this shit planned out, or he took he is very lonely and very kind of like underdeveloped mentally, and he just broke. But they want to like fuse those two things in really weak kind of ways, and it never quite feels authentic in either realm. So it's like, what's the psychosis of this guy? They kind of it's almost like they're just creating this character out of a bunch of tropes, and that's why he doesn't feel real.
Yeah, it's like every scene it's like they're approaching it writing wise as like, I don't know, like as a fresh, like, okay, now we need to show him indicative of X. And show, like, but they don't really connect to each other. They're just things you've seen people pretending to be crazy do. Like, that's the thing is, this is crazy, this is interesting, but I just watched a YouTube video that was called like how to tell if somebody's pretending to be crazy or something like that. Okay. And they showed like interrogation footage of people, like some of them really ridiculous, like one dude who they just were filming him and he's just like sitting there like scratching his nose, and then somebody walks in and he's like puts his hand up and starts acting all fucked up, and like it's fucking heinous, honestly. But like, it reminds me of that. It's like, this is from a writing standpoint, it's like each scene is like somebody is on the clock, okay, act crazy, and we're not going to define what that means, but just act crazy. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I feel like he doesn't, we just don't see him in his natural habitat. Like, we don't see him doing his thing. Like, the only creepy that we get from him is like the lines that he delivers. You know, like we don't have intimate moments with him like doing weird shit. Like I just keep thinking about High Tension and how like we know nothing about the killer in that movie. And
we are really engaged by the girl.
Yeah, I'm talking spoiler-free High Tension here. Like, we know nothing about the killer at all, but like he feels like a lived-in person that you're genuinely afraid of. Like we know more about this guy, but he feels more like a caricature, you know?
Well, it's almost like we know just enough to where we don't know enough. Do you know what I mean? Like in High Tension, if we're going off that as the bar, like we don't know anything about him, and that's what makes it scary. It's the fear of like, it's like the Michael Myers thing where it's like,
why would he
don't know anything?
This?
Why is he doing this? It doesn't matter. He's killing people. In this case, there's too much put on the table and not enough consumed by the actor and by the writing, I think. And what's really harsh is that the victim is this actress who's doing a fine job or whatever, but like she just has nothing. Like he has to carry so much weight because her character is given nothing except for just general fear.
Survive,
And so like I think that's why we're so hung up on Wes in this case, because it's like Wes Bentley, because he's like carrying the movie for better or for worse, and a lot of times it's not for better, unfortunately.
I want to give some more love to Angela here in this movie, because as far as like I kind of hesitate to call her a final girl because she's like the only girl. Like if she died, the movie would be over. Final if she died.
She's the final girl at work.
Yeah, but you know, she's our main character here. We're following her through this movie. She is like very smart, and like she uses everything around her to the best of her ability. She even like, you know, tricks Wes Bentley into opening up a closet, and she sprays him in the face with something that blinds him, and she locks him into the car rental place, you know, for a minute so she can get away and steal a car. Like she does the best that she can. She seems like very able-bodied, even in very terrifying situations. Like she breaks out of the trunk of a car with a tire iron. She kills a dog, and she does all these things in a way that's believable still, even though like, you know, what I don't know, was that like a Rottweiler that he had? Like those things can be extremely vicious, but you know, she still manages to kill the dog in a way that I believe, anyways. Like I'm with her throughout this movie.
I think mostly you're right, but there are a couple of times where I'm like, what, like when she's badly trying to lie to him about having a boyfriend. It's just like, it's like, this man's not believing you. Like, and even before that, it was like, don't lie. Like, if I was in her position, I would assume that this guy, because of the way he's acting, and maybe it's the actor, maybe it's the writing, I don't know which, but the way he's acting is like I'm like, I don't know it yet, but I'm in too deep. And you just press the fucking mom button and be like, you need to let me go right the fuck now, or I'm fucking. Do you think kidnapping me is gonna win my heart, you motherfucker? Fuck you. Let me the fuck go, or I'll make sure you spend every fucking last minute of your life in jail getting railed in the asshole.
That's the route you would take?
Yes.
Dude, I always think the opposite in movies like this. I always think like,
I like how that's the mom role.
Yeah.
Randy said take the mom.
Well, like, take the assertive,
know.
like, because she's not physically imposing, so she has to be domineering in another way, and that has to be verbal. Like
people in that kind of situation, I feel who feel like they have the upper hand completely, like you're chained to a table, I feel like do not respond to shit like that, because probably a lot of them, like we see a lot of the serial killers have some kind of like mom problems. Some of them kill their mothers in weird sexual ways. Whenever I see a situation like this, I always think all the strength and stuff that you can muster to like survive a Rottweiler and all these things, I would be like, I would do the best. You're my best friend in the world. I would fucking smooth the shit out of this person as best. Now it's easy to say when there's nothing going on, but man, I would do the best. Oh, you want to have fucking dinner? Fuck yeah. Let's have some drinks, bitch. Let's fucking get it on. Like, I mean, that's what I always think. I'm like, man, I'm going to turn this person into my best fucking friend. I would not assault them verbally.
That makes me question a lot about our relationship, but all right.
Being held hostage, and he has
I don't know. Like, I guess there's many ways you could approach it, but like my boyfriend's coming. He's gonna beat you up.
Well,
it's so weak to me. Like just just taken strictly at face value, I think that was not believable from the start. And it's like, I don't know.
She doesn't have a lot of information at that point. I get it could be a reactionary thing where he's obviously trying to come on to her and be like, oh, I have a boyfriend. Obviously, he finds out he's been watching her. I wish there were kind of more moments like that where maybe she finds where he keeps all these tapes of her walking to her car or in her office or something like that. He obviously has access to it because he plays the tape from the Christmas party. Now, I do want to, we've been right on this pretty hard. I want to talk about some things that I liked as well. That scene with the guy and he smooshes him with the car. Damn.
Yeah,
that had those, high tension kind of feels. It's weird that we keep bringing up high tension because, well, even before that, honestly, that was okay. I felt like maybe they set it up to where that was okay to me. But when he hit him with his car and his guts were pouring out onto the ground, I was like, oh, that's too real for me. Or I mean, that's real enough for me to be like, that's
well, you could see his rib cage. I thought that was a fucking great thing. I don't know, like that was a great gore scene, but honestly, I think the dog bite was worse for me. I was very convinced by that dog bite.
Yeah.
Especially the aftermath of it. Go ahead.
So I mentioned it before, the moment where he puts his hands around her neck, the moment where she's watching the tape and comes out, I was like, what is gonna be on this tape? When he smushes that dude with the car, when let's see. Yeah, those are I thought the chicken was kind of dumb. And I started by saying, let me tell you what I like about this. I thought the chicken moment was kind of dumb. And I thought that where she blew up the car, I thought that was kind of dumb.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. That was a cool way to end it, I thought.
It was too 90s action movie for me.
Okay.
It's a little bit of a trope, sure.
Like light the gas on fire with the taser and
I like that she didn't do it though.
This movie does have a dash of Die Hard in it, I feel. Like I don't know if you guys
I was gonna bring that up actually. Speaking of like nondescript locations, like a lot of that movie happens in like unfinished office room and stuff like that. But that movie also has a giant fucking explosion every 20 minutes. So I don't know if it suffers from the same problems with action that this one does, which in this I think keeps the action going. I don't want to disparage it for that, but it's not the same like action movie level.
Yeah,
it's
of course
more
not.
like a smaller feel, which it needs to be. This is like the thing is like we've kind of railed on this movie, but it's not a bad movie. It really isn't. It's just kind of middle of the pack. And I feel like, like Justin, your metaphor of leaving a lot on the bone is very apt. I just feel like there's a lot more they could have done to sell it, both in the acting department and especially in the writing department. I would love to just like have a little bit more about what's going through Wes Bentley's mind, like just like I don't know. And it's easy to see it shoehorned in where it's like, when I was a kid, and then it's like some dumb soliloquy about, being bullied or some shit. Like, but something could be in there. Like, you've got two characters for a majority of this film. You can't tell me you can't find 10 minutes to lay some tracks like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Instead, you've got him kind of like being like, oh, whatever, my plans falling apart, and just kind of like laughing to himself about it. I don't know, man. Like she could have easily escaped in that scene if she like had made all the right moves.
Yeah,
she did as best she could, but like there were a few times she could have made it and then there were a couple times where she should have made it, but like then movie magic put him right in the way, basically at least 2 times where she's trying to escape and either he and the dog rounds the corner right at the right time, or he hits her car as she's trying to ram the which is fine. I don't have a big problem with that, but it's just there's no middle ground there. There's no like him like, oh shit, I'm in too deep, I fucked up, oh shit. And then there's not enough of that, and there's not enough of his backstory or hers for me to feel super engaged by their characterizations. There's just, anyway, I turned a positive into a negative.
Yeah,
like,
I did the I did the same thing.
I don't mean to do that, but it really isn't a bad, like none of the acting is terrible. It's just not fully fleshed out.
I feel like it's time to land the plane.
Yeah,
we
let's
kind
just do it.
we touched on all the major points. I think if there's anything else you guys want to add, obviously feel free to do so. Let's go ahead and rate this thing out of 5. Juice, why don't you kick us off? How do you feel about P Deuce?
P Deuce. Yeah, it is. It's okay, but that's all it amounts to. And like I was saying before, Christmas horror, I wouldn't watch this any other time outside of Christmas. And I just never see myself rewatching this movie, because once the season comes around, there's just huge bangers. And even, not quite, Rare Exports is not a big banger like Krampus, but it was good. And I would be happy to watch it. I don't ever see myself watching this again. It's almost like saying like, yeah, Calvert is a Christmas movie, and that's pretty solid too, but I'm like, when am I gonna watch Calvert again? I kind of feel this
never again, but for different
reasons,
yeah,
much different reasons.
Yeah.
This movie, I think the thing is the guy, he doesn't do a good enough job, and he does okay, but he's asked to do more. Like we were saying before, he's supposed to be the interesting character. He's supposed to be the one we're curious of and fear and all these things. Whereas the woman, yeah, we can sympathize with her, and it's easy to do. She's trying to survive, but she's asked to do less, and that's understandable. There were some like cool moments. It really does feel a lot like High Tension, where in the moment and you're experiencing it, I was like, oh, that's tense, or I was really feeling it at points. But when it's all said and done, I start thinking about it. I'm like, some of this kind of falls apart. It's not super tight with its logic and stuff like that. And I think there's just too many moments between overall faulty logic and the character not selling it, and there just being a slim cast in general and not a whole lot to look at, that leaves me feeling just kind of but it's okay. I think I'm gonna give it a 2.5. Some solid gore. That's for like some solid gore, some real tense moments, some believable enough characters and situations, but ultimately no kind of depth, some logical problems, some bland kind of characters. 2.5 is fine, I think. Yeah. Randy, out of 5, what you got? Taking the reins.
Yeah, you did. You took that iron fist right out of Bob's hand.
I'll just sit here idly.
Yeah.
Is that what they call it nowadays? Yeah, so I tend to agree with most of what Justin said. I would say that I kind of wish that Rachel Nichols, the Angela, I wish that she had more character development, even more than I wish it for Wes, because I just feel like it's not hard to root for her, but I feel like the story that is meant to be there, it's like there's an empty slot, and that slot is in the shape of a revenge flick for like a female revenge flick, where it's, this is a woman who is, forced to stay and work late by her cruel partners who are being dicks to her on the phone. She's molested by her coworker. She's just put upon in every way.
Yeah.
But we'd never really get any further than that. After she leaves the office, like that is all in the rear view. It doesn't really matter except for the one guy. And that's only because of Wes's obsession with her. And it's only like, it doesn't like, and she doesn't really even have that big of a problem with him. She's like, oh no, like I understand that she's trying to save his life. I get that. Even if he is a piece of shit to her, like she's a good person that doesn't want him to die. But the way she's arguing it, it's like, she's like, oh, it's in the past. Why would you be so concerned about this? It's like, yeah, but he did grope you. Like, I don't know. I just feel like there's more. That's the story. And that's what's missing, is the story of this woman who has X problems in her life, and this situation is a manifestation of that in some way, and she overcomes it. But it's just underplayed, and she's not given enough to really sell that to me. And in lieu of that, we get more of Thomas, who is only okay. You know, he doesn't carry the weight the rest of the way, in my opinion. I think between the two of them, they're both kind of shafted in terms of the writing. And I think that as big as he tries to be, he can't really fill the gap by being big enough. So those are kind of my big issues with it. I do love the setting. That's the thing I was most dubious of, and it turned out to be one of the best things about the movie. I did like the way they used the space. I like the way they kept the tension up pretty much entirely throughout. It does have that feel like new French Extremity in some ways. Out of Christmas horror, I would say this is at least middle of the pack for me. It's not one that I will rewatch probably, but it is one that I feel strongly is of a certain quality, but it is not of enough quality to where I would watch it outside of the season, I don't think. And I mean, I would never watch it outside of the season. I might watch it again for Christmas. You know, it's kind of in that realm. But all things said, I don't think it's an incompetent film. I just think it's an underbaked film. So for me, I'm going to give it, I like it more than I dislike it. I'm going to give it a 3. And I think that's fair. Yeah, like a 3. Yeah.
Okay.
Just leave it there.
Rob, out of 5, you get your chance now to let us know. Tell us what you think about P. Deuce.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for anointing me here. I don't know. I like this movie. I think this movie's pretty tight. As far as like bottle movies are concerned, which I would consider this a bottle movie. I mean, like I said, like 80% of the movie, 90% of the movie takes place in a parking garage, which is like the least aesthetically pleasing like place to be ever. I think this movie is extremely entertaining. And like, I think it's very easy to like fall prey when you're making a bottle movie to like load it down with plot conveniences that are like, you know, I've got characters in this one location. There's only 2 of them. I got nothing to play with here. I have to like force things to happen. So you have these characters like making decisions that they wouldn't normally make, or finding things that they should never find in a parking garage. And like these are problems that the movie like completely avoids, and I would think uses the surroundings in a very like interesting, inventive way. And even more so, like a bottle movie tends to be like potentially very boring. I don't know. I think this movie, again, never ever bores me. The only thing it could do better is dive deeper as far as like characters are concerned. Like if you were comparing this to 10 Cloverfield Lane, you know, it's really 3 characters, but for the most part, we're really worrying about 2 of them. We dive way deeper into those characters' backgrounds, even though like we're not having flashbacks, but we get a general sense of them based on the things that they say and based on how they react to one another. Mm-hmm. This movie could use more of that for sure. But overall, like I think they do a really good job with what they have. I think the script is pretty damn tight. I think the performances are solid. I think they do. I think they do a good job with what they have. Even though Wes Bentley, I don't know that he was the best cast for the character of Jim. I think they lay on.
Kiss his ass. Kiss your ass. Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah. I think they lay on the Christmas stuff pretty well with like the decorated office. The movie opens up with Santa Baby. There's a scene with Wes Bentley singing Blue Christmas, where he's doing like his weird Elvis moves, which is like adequately creepy, I think. I don't know. I think I like this movie a little bit more than you guys do. I'm not saying this is better than Black Christmas or like Silent Night, Deadly Night by any means. I'm just saying, as far as like lesser seen Christmas horror movies, I think this is a very, very solid movie. I'm going to go 3.5.
Okay. Can I say something real quick?
Yes, please do.
So overall, our aggregate score is going to be a 3 out of 5. Let's jump into our Rotten Tomatoes segment and see what the critics and users have to say about P. Deuce.
You're fired. You are fired.
Look, you play the tune. I gotta dance. You know, Bob. You want that iron fist of yours? It sounds like you're gonna have to win it back.
Undercutting undercutting Bob and doing a great job at it. It's just
I edit
rewarding.
these shows. I'm deleting all of your audio juices. Just Randy and I.
Oh
Just
wow!
Randy and I.
Deleting the comment, big move.
Deleting the comment. Whoa.
We're at the
Randy,
threshold of hell.
Randy, take us into the threshold of hell, will you?
So what we have here is the Rotten Tomatoes segment of the show. For those who don't know, this is the segment where I get these gentlemen to guess within the best of their abilities what the critics and users think of this film, P-Deuce, on RottenTomatoes.com. So they're going to guess the percentage that they think was a positive score, what the aggregate is. I'll start with Bob, since you're the guest. What do you think? What do you think that the critics gave this movie? 72.
I'm the guest.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been
Is that
demoted.
what you-
Oh, okay. It's very confusing.
I'm just a guest now.
I'm playing. I'm
Um,
singing your song, Justin. Come
I
on,
like it. I
stick
was
with
just a
me.
little confused.
Wow. Man, I'm gonna go with a 65%, please.
What a cock tease. All right.
Just the tip.
65. They're only 72. Remember, I did say that, right?
I don't know.
I don't remember. I was so distracted by being called a guest on the show.
Well, you better get up your game, Soju. And now for our guest Soju, what is he gonna say?
Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, I don't think the critics are. I don't know. I don't think they're going to be super sold with this movie. This doesn't seem like a critics kind of movie. I think I'm going to be kind of a man of the critic. I'm going to say 55.
55. All right. Well, let's see here. It seems like we're going to get us a Soju win on the critics. It's a 35% positive. 35.
35. Wow, that's a
35.
lot.
Brutal.
35.
I didn't. Wow,
You know,
I didn't think it'd
you
be
think
low.
that I didn't either, but when I saw it earlier, I was like, you know what? That makes sense because this story is very straight. Like there's no
Yeah,
fluff on this
there
fucking
is
thing.
no like
There's
critic praiseworthy things going
There's
on.
no this is not a thinker,
Yeah.
this movie.
I mean, the Marvel movies aren't necessarily thinkers, but they do.
Yeah,
a
but
hell
they're
of a lot
crowd
better than
pleasers.
that.
I don't know that this is that.
Yeah.
But I know,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I think the best thing this thing hangs its hat on though is things that aren't pleasant. So we cover horror movies and you're talking about tension and gore, but from a regular critic who's talking about a Christmas horror movie where a man just gets smashed into the side with the car and a girl gets groped and like it's implied, a terrible thing. I don't know. That's just not, I don't know.
Shitter was full though.
Yeah.
So
But anyways, can I get a hit?
nope. Nope. Zoom.
Sit there and use subliminal messages to suck your children's minds out.
Did Zoom cut me off from my
As
Yeah,
bad
pretty
as a
much.
guest, I'm not.
Damn, I even
Zoom
tried
cut
to-
you out. We're gonna have to get. I don't know.
I
We're
tried
gonna have to figure out the
back
guest
away,
situation here.
Yeah, you're too loud. We don't want to hear you.
Yeah, Bob. Slow your roll. Maybe one day when you have a podcast, you can tell people how to do it. All right, let's move on to the audience score. There are over 50,000 audience ratings for this film, so significantly more.
Damn.
We'll start with Soju on this one. What do you think the audience gave this film?
Wait, how much did you say it was?
Over 50,000.
Oh wow. Okay. I think it'll be higher than fucking 35 or whatever. That's nuts. But I still don't think this is gonna be a banger. I'll keep my 55, I think.
55. Okay. Bobby, can you give it to me?
Man, I'm gonna $1 juice down with a 54.
Ooh, $1 down.
Finally coming around, huh, Bob? For the sake of the hell ski.
Well,
I guess.
that was a wise move. It is
Mm.
a 36% positive.
Damn.
This movie is not well reviewed. I think
It's
we were much
better than
kinder to this movie
that.
than most.
It is better than that, but it surprises me. But I guess it's not so shocking. But yeah, it's pretty low.
It's not. If you think about it, think about your average audience member, not a horror fan, but an average audience member. If they're a critically minded person that's going to cinema, they're going to have the opinion of the critics, which is that this is a straight line and there's nothing interesting to it except just the little journey that you go on. And it's very rote and basic. And then on the other side of the equation, you have people who want to see the fucking explosions, bro. Like, give me some more shit to watch and see happen.
That's true.
And maybe, like, it's not bombastic enough to get the other side of the coin.
I could see people getting bored with this. Yeah. It makes more sense to me that this would be reviewed lower than I thought than it would be to be higher than I thought. Like, if this was 87, my mind would be blown.
Yeah, man. It's
but it's not.
It's not.
Can
so,
Oh, Zoom cut you out, Bob. Sound like you wanted a hell yeet. Hell yeet.
No.
All I heard on my end was
sorry, Bob. Zoom. What can you do? Zoom.
God, I'm gonna have to cut all the guests from this episode.
It's just gonna be Randy.
Just me talking at somebody.
Oh man.
Anyway,
hey, Deuce, I'm Randy. Randy, what's up?
Jesus Christ.
That's what you sound like.
A little juice. No.
Yes.
Thank you.
I had to. All right, we're gonna read a random. Actually, wait, where's the critics consensus? I almost skipped that.
Oh, yeah.
The critics consensus is as follows: P2 is full of gore but low on suspense, featuring a cat and mouse plot. Has been done many times before. That was poorly phrased, but
okay. I'm glad Randy has sometimes. Like, anytime Randy's gone, and I have to read it. I feel like I just bomb every time.
This is like, I don't think this is grammatically correct. I mean,
You have
P2
to
is full of gore
assume
but low on
what-
suspense, featuring a cat and mouse plot has been done many times before. So it's like it's a run-on sentence.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's one sentence?
It's one sentence. Yeah, it's one sentence.
Damn.
Let's read
critics,
a
am I right?
random negative review and see if it's funny or not. Let's see. It's like a Michael Haneke film, but without the intellectual underpinnings, and is therefore just pointlessly plain and in one long scene of torture, unwatchably sadistic.
Joke's on you,
Right.
because I don't know who Michael Haneke is.
Yes, you do. Funny Games.
Oh, yeah, we watched the remake.
Yeah.
Yeah, we covered the remake, right? Not the original?
We covered.
Did we do?
No, we
both?
covered
I
the
thought we did
original.
both.
We covered the original.
Oh, we covered the
Oh.
original, not the remake?
No
Okay.
shit.
I think
we've
it's
done
the
both.
remake.
I think we did
Whatever.
cover the remake. Yeah.
We only did one. I know that for a fact.
We did the remake.
It's hard to tell because they are so similar.
No, we did the remake because it had the guy from Boardwalk Empire in it.
Yeah, and it was English. Like the
And it was
original's
English,
not
it's
English
French.
language, right? Okay, yeah.
Or
I've only seen the
Swedish or
remake.
something, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Swedish.
So I don't know
One
who
more.
that is.
Like
See?
the fish.
Bentley plays the role of funny, cagey psychopath quite well, and the film packs more laughs than frights. What woman wouldn't be interested after his homicidal message of love? This is a person who's in jail now,
Okay.
Yep.
presumably.
They were writing Marilyn Manson before he passed. Like,
Oh,
sweet little love letters.
Bob.
Oh, hey, I'm walking
Who
in.
told you you can eat my cookies?
Marilyn Manson did.
Oh, Bob.
Marilyn Manson.
You could eat my cookies.
Ugh.
All right, let's move on. That's the end of the Rotten Tomatoes segment. Kaput.
All right, let us continue. It is totally time for trivia.
It's totally time for trivia.
Juice, what you got?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was hosting this episode. No.
No, you're just a guest.
Okay.
You do trivia now.
Actually, quite a lot of these I think I can turn into a fun little game. So let's have at it. According to an interview he gave to the New York Times in 2010, this movie was made during the middle of Wes Bentley's decade-long, extremely serious addiction to what drug?
What drug?
Yeah.
Oh,
Randy, what do you think Wes Bentley was addicted to during this time that affected his performance?
well,
Probably.
there's just so many options. I don't think he's manic enough for it to be like Coke or PCP or some shit. I don't know. God. I'll go with Quaaludes.
Okay, Robert. What do you think Wes Bentley was addicted to while filming this?
I know the answer, so I feel like I can't.
Oh, really?
answer. Yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
That's sad.
Did you read my trivia, Bob?
Your trivia that you wrote and sent to me.
I
Yes,
want to play a
I read
game,
it.
okay?
I wouldn't.
I would
Did
like
you
to-
know all of it?
Probably, yeah.
For shame. Okay.
Yeah, probably. You said.
Well, I don't know all the questions you're going to answer, but like probably.
I'll answer your questions.
Thanks,
Juice.
Randy. We'll just not talk to
That's
Bob
what
for
makes
the
you the
next
better guest.
10 minutes, okay? So he was addicted, so extremely serious addiction to cocaine and heroin. Damn. He said in that interview that he only accepted any movie roles during that time so that he would have money to buy enough drugs. Damn.
Oh, poor dude. That's
this
no
next
good.
one, Randy, I want to see if you can guess this one.
Okay.
There were blank white dresses used in the filming of this. How many white dresses do you think they used to film this movie?
Oh shit. I mean, any given movie has at least like 4 of any given costume on screen. So she goes through multiple stages of grime in this film. So I'm gonna say 30.
30. There are
I'm going to
only-
take the Anne Hathaway 27 dresses, please.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Okay, Bob, just iron fist in there. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So there were, I don't even think I can trust your answers though, Bob. I feel like you know all this. There were 14 white dresses used in the filming of this. One thing that I did want to critique this movie on, one more thing, I meant to mention it several times, but we got kind of wrapped up, is I thought there were times where they just wanted to put this kind of good looking younger woman in a dress where her yabos were popping, and then they make her wet and run around. I was like,
yeah,
there were times where I was like,
dude, yeah,
okay.
actually, that's a good point. And that's something I thought about because, like I said earlier, I was kind of expecting this to be sort of at least have something like to do with like,
Right.
oh, this is a metaphor about, you know, a woman in the workplace being, you know, put upon and having to work extra hard or something like that. But instead, it almost feels like the opposite.
Yeah, I agree. Like it wasn't
So,
necessarily
like,
on
almost
her side.
misogynistic?
Yeah, I agree. There were blank different dogs used to portray the Rottweiler. Bob, do you want to get in here?
But yeah, this is a guess. I really don't know. I'm
Okay.
just going to say 3.
Okay. Randu.
I'll go with 4.
Okay. Bob gets it. I just don't even know if we can trust it though. It was
Throne of lies.
a ding-a-ling. 3 different dogs were used to portray the Rottweiler.
All right.
Okay, this is what I don't remember if we had started recording yet. I don't think we had, but I started laughing at some of the trivia. I want you guys to guess. In Spanish, phonetically, the title P Deuce sounds exactly like Pay Dos. Do you know what that means in Spanish?
I have a guess.
What do you think it is? Randy?
Pedophile?
Okay.
Pedos?
P-E space D-O-S. I don't know if I'm
Okay, well,
pronouncing
let me
that
think about that for a second. It's probably
Okay.
not pedophile. No, I don't know. Well, I don't know. Fuck it. I don't know the answer. So
right. Okay.
pedophiles.
Rob.
I believe I know this as well.
Oh, God.
Oh, I see.
Look
That-
what you did, you little jerk.
The answer, apparently, pedos, if I don't know if I'm saying that right, means farts. Spain distributors opted for the more generic parking 2 for their title instead of P-Deuce.
More generic? I mean,
well, instead
P2
of
could be about
farts,
fucking bingo. Like
they could have
it's
called
not-
it P-Deuce like we did.
They could
all
have
right.
called it stuck in the parking garage. and it would've made
Apparently,
sense.
this shares basically the same plot as the low-budget direct-to-film Lower Level, which was filmed in, or which was released in 1991. Yeah.
Yeah,
Never
that makes
seen it.
sense. I was thinking about it. I was like, you know, there's
Yeah, me
probably
neither.
very few movies that get away with this cheap of a filming location.
Yeah. And it says Miranda Edwards and wait, we're in Mean Girls? Never mind. That's all the trivia.
Mean Girls? I don't
Mean Girls.
know.
No, okay. That was I read like every piece.
Okay. Well, let us continue on. We're talking about our cooter of the week.
Straight chillin'.
Gooder of the week!
Juice, what is a cooter and why do we hunt them?
Thank you for asking, Bob. Cooter is a character type and a straight chillin' exclusive. Cooter must hit 3 of these 5 points to be considered a cooter, but we want the cooter with the most points. The 5 points are sexual deviance, manipulation, smug arrogance, overall looking attire, and overall patheticness. P-Deuce is very slim on characters, boys, and this is going to be shooting fish in a barrel. Let's talk about our cooter of the week, which is
Cab driver.
What's that guy's name? Thomas.
Call him that, though.
Boys, why is Thomas a cooter for sure? Let's discuss.
Well, let's start with
sexual deviance.
Okay, let's start there then. Yeah, that fucking tape was pretty brutal. Not as brutal as it could have been, though.
I thought they pulled the punch. Yeah, I thought
maybe
they did.
a little much for the reaction that she gives, but
yeah. So that, and even I like the kind of implication too when she wakes up in it, where you're like, what has been going on? And also we didn't even talk about where she wakes up and he's in the fucking Santa suit. But when she wakes up and everybody knows like, oh, she's in a new dress, even before you see the chain on her leg, like that's the first thing. She wakes up, she's in new clothes, and she even asks, where are my clothes? So that was pretty intense. Yeah, sexual deviance for sure.
Oh yes. Well, and also, following and stalking a woman.
Well, yeah, sure.
Like there's a number of levels to that particular claim.
Chalk some of that up to manipulation. Like he's definitely like manipulating the people that work in the building. Like he somehow gets these people to trust him to where he can like kidnap them and murder them. He's also like manipulating the security system and like using it against people. Yeah. And the cops as well. He's like stealing videotapes and like gaining information about these people. Like, I don't know. He's using everything he can at his disposal for his own gains, his own personal gains.
Sure.
Yeah. Even the whole car thing. Oh, let me help you with your car. Like, you motherfucker, you did that shit.
Motherfucker.
Yeah.
Pathetic. That's where I wanted to start, was with pathetic.
Oh, I know you do, Randy, because you hate those incels, don't you?
Oh no, the incel mob is gonna come for us.
I was waiting for the incel rant. Here it is.
No,
Randy,
I mean, it's covered as much as they don't give enough characterization for that to carry any weight. But pathetic. This guy is fucking pathetic. Like we said earlier, like even as like he never really becomes imposing, even at his scariest moments, with the exception of like 2 or 3 moments.
Yeah.
Is he ever actually like imposing in some way, as opposed to just like a problem? He's like a fucking problem dog. He's like just something she's trying to deal with, who's legitimately dangerous, but doesn't weirdly seem that way. He just seems like he positions her in a way where he's always on top theoretically.
He's so at least whiny. Like even when I was talking about that dog shit, like, why would you do that? It's just an innocent dog. I'm like, this is not the imposing force I want to see. This is a little bitch. God damn.
I could have lived with that if it was like more manic. Like he really sold the idea that he does not connect the dots.
Yeah.
Instead, it just seemed like, stop lying, motherfucker. Like that's all I could, like. It just seemed like somebody trying to get away with some shit as opposed to somebody with psychosis.
It kind of just felt like he was acting, like because apparently he needed some blow, which is a bummer.
I'm glad he's off on the wagon now, theoretically.
Good for him. Yeah, seems like if you're working for American Horror Story, you're making some cash, so that's good news.
Yeah, but that something tells me that's not a set that's very exclusive of drugs.
That's a fair point. Yeah, that's fair.
Also, in Hotel, there's like where he was like one of the main actors. There's a huge plot points about heroin and shit. Damn. He's
called lived experience.
Attire. He dresses up as Santa in a way that's fucking weird and not cool.
Yeah. He also might be an Elvis impersonator. That's a winner right there. Chicken fucking dinner.
I'll do it for the Santa Claus. Like, why would you even open up with that? I'm Santa Claus. What the fuck?
Like, oh, I'm coming around from being knocked the fuck out.
Yeah.
Dressed as Santa Claus.
Yeah. That's not chill.
Smug arrogance is the only other one we haven't hit him on yet, I believe.
I think he's pretty fucking arrogant in times, but he's like, I don't know. He oscillates, so it's kind of tough to say. I think that, like, honestly, and I really still think of this as more of like a writing issue than anything else. But like when she escapes while he's beating that guy to death or whatever, and she like kind of gets a little bit of an upper hand, and he's just like, oh boy, and he's just kind of like smiling and mugging the camera a little bit. It's just like I don't know if that's really smug arrogance of the character so much as it is just a weird choice by the writing and acting in the movie. But I guess you could play it that way. I don't think that it's unfair to say.
I think there's some smug arrogance in a little bit different way than we usually present it, but he has it a couple times. His whole, I guess, persona of like, no, I'm here to protect you. I'll be this man who's tied to a chair. Or like, that whole I'm here for you. I'm the man. I'll protect you.
I can't believe you're a good person. I can't believe I'd ask you to like that actually might be a good sell, actually. Yeah. I can go with that too.
Regardless, we got him on at least 4, if not all 5.
I think this cooter to almost the max.
Almost to the max. Little baby Jeremiah Sands. I think we got him. We got old Thomas.
We got him. We got him.
Oh, we got him. Oh, nope. Not that one.
We got a lot of bumps to manage this week.
I do. There's a lot of extra bumps this week.
Thank you.
I mean,
Randy.
luckily I still have time for this though.
Melvin do?
I feel good about that.
Wow.
Lighten the mood around here.
We're but humble guests on your show, Randy. Thank you for doing all the heavy lifting.
Oh, yeah.
Appreciate
hey,
it.
Bob, you know what? Why don't you cue up the next segment, huh?
All right. Looks like it's time to get into what we've been watching this week.
Hey, gang, what you been watching?
Randy, what you been watching?
What have I been watching? So I kind of left a lot on the table last week because there was so much that I had seen in that gap, and I haven't actually watched a whole lot since. So here's what I got. I already talked about the how to spot somebody trying to pretend to be crazy. There's a YouTube video. I can't remember who made that YouTube video, and it was fine. Like it was an interesting video to watch. I don't know if it was a rewatch or anything, but I did bring it up. So there you go. Look it up. I have, fortunately, in the past month or two, because of shifting guidelines and so on and getting boosted and all that shit and having actual live music to go to, been able to partake in some live music, including one Mr. Jeff Rosenstock, who performed here in DC, as well as Titus Andronicus, 2 of my favorite bands. And that's not to mention Laura Stevenson, who I saw a little more than a month ago now, supporting Lucy Dacus, who's, I guess, hot shit for the youngins, but I didn't know her at the time. She's fine. But yeah, those are 3 of my favorite fucking musicians, and I got to cram them into about a 1.5 month period, and I am very, very grateful for that. It was like a fully vaxxed situation, and it's like masks on, all that shit, but still plenty of drinks flowing. And boy, my ears were ringing for a fucking week after that Titus Andronicus show. I was concerned. Wear earplugs at shows, kids. Also watched Planes, Trains, and Automobiles when Thanksgiving was in full swing, of course. Because what else are you gonna do? And then I've been watching a few Christmas specials here and there, just sitcoms and so on. Two that stand out were, one was South Park's Woodland Critter Christmas, which is super good, super fucking funny. I'm sure that's not a surprise to anybody, but I love that one. But really, the one that kind of stood out to me this year was the Powerpuff Girls, 'Twas the Fight Before Christmas.
Wow.
That shit is fucking awesome. That
Oh,
show is
okay.
incredible. And honestly, I think that there might not be anybody on this planet that has more of an has had more of an influence on my animation style and my illustration style than Gendy Tartakovsky. That motherfucker, like, it's so good. Everything in that show looks so good. I highly recommend it. It's like a full half-hour episode as opposed to their normal like 10-15 minute, bits. So it's a little bit overlong maybe, but it's a great fucking Christmas special and it's very, very funny. So I recommend. The first run of Powerpuff Girls is still one of my favorite shows, I think.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I'll leave it there.
Juice. What you been watching?
I kind of want to revisit some of those. There was that time up here where it was Johnny Bravo, Powerpuff Girls, and Dexter's Lab. Yeah. That was like a solid string of little cartoons there.
Those and they all like, oh man. I don't know. And talking Christmas episodes, I haven't watched it yet, but get to that fucking Hey Arnold Christmas special, dude. You want to cry at a cartoon? That's the one.
All right. I have been watching some Christmas stuff. Strangely, though, I'm a big Christmas movie guy, but a lot of them have been Christmas kind of specials. So I talked about it last week where I needed to switch over and finally watch the baking Christmas ones. So I did. So what they do is they just bring back like 4 previous bakers. So you're familiar with them.
Great British Bake Off.
The Great British Bake
Okay.
Off. They bring in 4 bakers who you're familiar with, have been on the show before, and it's essentially like a 1-episode deal. It's not an ongoing, and they do it. So they do 2 per season, and one of them's called like the Christmas special, and one of them's called Festive, where I think they do it on New Year's, but it's still all decorated in Christmas, like. And that's weird to me because once Christmas is done, kind of like Halloween, it's done. So to go like a week and a half later and bake in a decked out Christmas tent feels weird.
I don't know, man. Not to me. I don't know. The Christmas thing, like I think it lasts through New Year's for most people because they don't want to get rid of their tree right away. Like decorations aren't down until the early parts of the year.
That's true. That's fair enough. For me, I don't know. That feels weird. But the first one was great. Like they had great bakers and like they made Yule logs and stuff like that. Fantastic. The third one also great. Like they just had again really great bakers. The second one is painful. Like they didn't have anyone hardly good, and one of them was really bad.
I want to watch that one.
Oh, it made me
That's
because
the
I
opposite.
watched.
That's not what you want out of British baking
exactly.
show.
Great British Bake Off. You want that good chill vibe, not watching somebody fail miserably. And I don't want to spoil it, but the person who was failing miserably, it like had an extra twinge of like feel bad because of who it was. So that sucks. But I watched that, and those are wonderful and delightful. I like watching, all kind of like the Yule logs and stuff. Gingerbread houses and what. It's just
Yule
like
log
it's
part 9.
so festive. Then I also watched Hawkeye. I hadn't watched any of it, and it's strange. Like they hedged their bets with making a show, MCU show about Christmas or center around Christmas, because nobody's gonna watch it at any other time really, or I wouldn't. But it's okay. I think it's the weakest so far. I assume there's gonna be one more episode this week, and then I assume one episode next week because they're usually about 6 episodes, and that would be right before Christmas. So it's only got 2 episodes for me to give a fuck, and right now I kind of don't a lot. It's okay, but yeah, other than that, I think those are the only things I've been watching. So Christmas themed, but not my usual stuff. Yeah. What?
I completely forgot to bring up that I also watched Christmas Evil again. It's great.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
It's great.
Did you listen to it after my wonderful review on A Cut Above?
Well, you mentioned it on this show,
Uh-huh.
the only show I listen to because I am actively participating in it.
Okay, good. Well, it was because of me. That's all that matters. Bob,
Oh yeah.
tell us what's been on your
Yes.
Christmas list lately.
I haven't had a chance to watch a whole lot, but I did get the naughty cut of Krampus on 4K. And from,
The
came
naughty
from
cut.
Scream Factory. Yeah,
Is that what
so
they call
this
it, Briss?
This, yeah. So Michael Dougherty is his director's cut basically of Krampus. He went back in and added like 4 additional minutes here. And they did like a new 4K scan. And like he had a hand in making this disc directly. It's very much
Making
the same.
the disc,
Yeah, putting it together. Yeah,
manufacturing the disc.
he
He
was
pressed
in there.
all of the discs. He
Actually,
pulled a
they
lever and
put
went,
it- one disc, 2 discs.
All right, Bob, tell us
Just
about this.
means
I'm
like
curious.
More shit I gotta do now.
So they add in like 4 extra minutes, which is not enough to really like totally change what the movie is. It's still very much the same movie, but I will say like the frights that happen are more impactful. Like when there's a character in peril or like dealing with something like otherworldly, you have some extra time to like sit with that moment and it punches you in the gut a little harder. So like it's the same movie, it just like lands heavier. And I think that
pretty heavy
actually,
movie to begin with by the end.
I think this cut actually does improve the movie. Whereas a lot of times like you get a director's cut and it's like 30 extra minutes of nonsense and you're like bored out of your mind. This isn't that.
Did he keep
it's
the
like-
cookies?
They kept the cook. Yeah, you can't really get rid of the cookies. You know, they're like too embedded in the movie.
It's
To change them to something else.
Your wife's cookies are out of this world.
You can make them look
Hell
better.
yeah. Dougherty, do more. Do more for Soju.
Do better.
Make the naughtier cut.
Actually,
Naughtier.
Dougherty kicks ass.
Yeah, he does. So I
like
recommend
that
checking that out if
Yeah,
you're
me
a
too.
fan of Krampus. It's worth watching, I think. Other than that, Alice and I, we've been blasting through Bob's Burgers. We finally caught up. We have seen every single episode of Bob's Burgers.
Been doing that a while, yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
lot. They've got what, 8 seasons or some shit now?
It's 12.
You've been doing
Holy
that for a year.
fuck.
I remember
A full
coming
year.
back last year and y'all were watching that shit.
Wow.
Yeah, it took a long time, but we finally did it. We were trying to do it in preparation for the Bob's Burgers movie that was supposed to come out this year, then COVID fucked everything up. So I don't know when that's coming out now.
Gotta do
Hopefully
it
next
again.
year.
Do it again.
We watch them all over. Yeah, let's do it. What else did the last thing I want to mention is Dracula Dead and Loving It.
Oh, really? How was that?
Dude, it's like super, super goofy. I mean, it stars Leslie Nielsen. He is
Mhm.
Dracula in the movie.